You're listening to Unguarded, and this is part 2 on red flags.
You don't need to always badmouth a previous relationship. Not even you don't need to. You shouldn't.
No.
Even if it was really difficult, even if there was things that they, were really destructive, or maybe they, cheated on you, they absolutely betrayed your trust, all those things. But when you talk about them, can you find ways and things to we don't have to lie about, but you don't have to demean and trash.
Yeah.
I think that's
like you can honor them.
Yeah, or even just because there is a dance on. I don't want to talk about you should honor somebody who
Was terrible.
was terrible. That's the part that's being inauthentic, but you don't have to say everything. I think that's maybe a great gauge is sometimes I think we feel like the need to we feel the need to divulge all the information.
Yeah.
And to everyone, where sometimes discretion can be your greatest tool. And just, you know what? Yeah, it was really difficult situation, really tough season, and mistakes were made. My heart was broken, but I'm focusing on the future.
Yeah.
You can be honest without being hurtful.
Mm.
And I think and that's for our own mental health and how we're going to be present in the relationship we're in now currently, or even ones that are to come.
Yeah, that's good. Being discreet or having discretion. And maybe I was thinking when you're just having discretion of even the stuff that you're going through, it gives the other person space to get better.
Yes.
Just in the same way, when you make a mistake, you don't want them to tell the world what you did.
Yeah.
Because you want to grow and you don't want to be marked by that thing. In the same way, you want to have discretion too and give them space to grow.
Yes.
And get out of it and get better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because nobody is going to have a clean, bill of health when it comes to relationships.
Yeah.
If you start looking at your past, but you hope you give people grace and opportunity to grow, and that's the thing, when you break up with somebody, there should be like a break in terms of like, okay, I'm not gonna keep bringing up what you did, or I'm gonna keep thinking about you. I think that's where a lot of people get caught up. And they jeopardize current relationships. It's because they're spending all their mental acuity on people from the past.
Wow.
And it's like, when you broke up with them, you should have broken up with them completely.
It's good.
Like, let it go and like cut the tie that they have to you emotionally and mentally, so that you can completely move forward, where you can honor the person that you're with in the moment, right? And how often we hear the story, right, of people jeopardizing their relationship because they kept punishing the person they're with for actions of the person that they haven't even seen or been around for 5, 6, 7 years. And the person can't ever get out of the shadow. The current person can never get out of the shadow of what that previous partner did.
There was an interesting thing when we were dating long distance, and we were trying to figure out how to communicate with one another, because if I heard people in the background and you're going out, then that made me jealous. It made me sad. It made me like, oh, now I'm not hanging out with you. And
yeah, I couldn't have fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not completely.
Not completely, but
no,
close.
I'm just kidding. So I remember having this conversation, and you said to me, it stuck with me, and you said, in a past relationship, when I was doing long distance, I felt like I couldn't have fun. And it really started destroying us. Like, I don't want this to happen again. And when you said that, I was like, shoot, okay, I better get my stuff together, because if I do keep harping on this, then it's going to push you away. And I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So, it was a good like wake up call, I guess, that you were like, hey, just let you know, FYI, if we keep going down this pathway, I don't know if I can keep doing this.
Yeah.
So then my response was, okay, I need to figure something out, because I also can't do it like this either. Like, I can't keep I don't want, and so then what I decided was, don't call me. Like, we'll have time so we talk when we both have privacy and we can talk on the phone and we're not being pulled away.
Can we dive into that?
Yeah,
for a
sure.
second?
But 1 second, then I said,
Yeah.
can you just text me instead?
Yeah.
Like, hey, I'm going out with friends.
Mhm.
And I'm going to bring up another point after this. So go ahead.
But just going, okay, we're way past that moment and we're 14 years married and kids, all that. But I would push on that thought a little bit, maybe for the people listening. And that was our story. Yes, okay, don't call me when you're out having fun. But I feel like that's a bit of a half step.
Okay.
I feel like, is it possible, and maybe I'm wrong, that's why we're having this conversation, is it possible to be in a situation like that where you can find the joy or the fun that the other person is having, even if it doesn't involve you? I'm just wondering if that's even possible, just going, because and I did feel that in our date, even though it was progression, it was a half step, there was still that, oh yeah, I can't call her, because here's the underlying tone, what we're saying in that is that if you're having a good time without me, I don't want to even know about it.
Yeah, you can tell me afterwards.
Or even tell me afterwards.
Like you could, yeah.
But is there a world or a universe where we can celebrate what other people are experiencing outside of us, or even if it doesn't,
Yeah.
does that make sense?
Yeah,
You know?
I mean, I think that's I think that's a growth of my path that I had to like figure out, like come to Jesus moment, that my friends can have fun without me.
Sure,
it's really hard.
Totally, and I'm not even trying to downplay the difficulty of being in another country and wanting. Yeah. There's so many layers to that.
But I think it's the same thing as playing out with friendships too. That your friends can hang out without you and have a really great time. Then does that mean that it devalues your relationship with them? And can you be okay with that? And I feel like, I mean, it's been a growth on my end to get to that place.
Yeah. Because I think that's more rare.
Yeah.
To be able to have friendships, have romantic relationships, have, the space where in each other's lives where you actually have people that can celebrate the incredible things that happen to you, even not even if they're not involved, but even if at the cost of your preference.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's lots of times, especially being married, where you get to do things more and things are more accessible to you because you're the dad and I'm the mom. And not to say that we don't share the responsibility of the kids.
Yeah.
But that's my like main responsibility. So it's harder for me to go on a trip than it is for you to go on a trip.
Sure.
So yeah, there was many times where I'm like, okay, am I happy that he's going away and he gets to do this cool opportunity that I wish I could go? I wish I could go to New York with you. I wish I could go to Chicago. All these places, you get to go to Malawi. Like, so yeah, there's times when I had to like come to terms with it in myself and go, hey, don't rob his joy because you don't get to be part of it. And I just had to tell myself, hey, there'll be moments that you'll get to experience.
Yeah.
And you'll want him to be able to let you go and not be jealous and not be like, that would have been exhausting on the flip side if I need to go do something fun and you're like, oh, you get to do that without me?
Yeah.
That's exhausting.
Totally.
So,
and I don't experience that from you at all. So it's like, to clarify,
yeah. But I do think that was something that I had to grow and maybe I think you're, like you said, maybe it's a half step, but maybe that's just me being, okay, this is what I can handle right now as I'm figuring this out.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be in LA and I was like, this is tough to listen to the life that you're living, but I wouldn't be thinking about it if I was just living my life in Melbourne, Australia.
Yeah.
So to me, it was a win-win situation. And I just, I don't know. I'm like, I don't know. I'm at a crossroads with that because are you saying that you weren't able to have a lot of fun while we're dating long distance because
No, that's not what I'm saying. It's just
okay.
more, just as you were talking right there, I was like, oh, I wonder. And again, I'm thinking for the person who's listening, who maybe is in a similar situation than we were in. But it's not that I didn't feel like I could have fun, but I will say, yeah, I don't know if I felt like I could celebrate or be
With you
as
afterwards.
open with you as maybe I would have wanted because of the nuance of, yeah, of like I want you to have it. I just don't want to know about it. I think that's the half step.
Yeah,
I
it's
want you
good.
to have it, but I'm not ready there yet, or can't handle it.
You telling me
You
about it.
telling me about it,
Yeah.
and maybe there is a place where you can get to of like, oh, I am so excited for you and happy that you're doing that, and I can also find the joy and the celebration with you because I do believe that your success is my success, or your
Yeah.
joy is my joy, and yeah, just finding that authentic, true uh, celebration in the midst of it.
Yeah. I think that not that you're asking this question, but if you're in that place and you're wondering, okay, if you were like me and didn't know how to release the person you love to have fun without you,
Yeah,
that I mean, I guess I kind of said it before, but telling myself, hey, this is a good thing that if I love him, I want him to have fun. I want him to experience joy.
yep,
And I don't always have to be a part of that joy
yes,
for you to experience joy.
yeah,
And the more times that I told myself that and reminded myself that there were things that were in store for me too,
mm-hmm.
then it allowed me to be able to appreciate your joy and for you to call me and say, I'm having so much fun.
Yep. And maybe that's even an aspect of green flag versus red flag, right? Red flag being the person um, doesn't the person can't celebrate with you, and they actually see it as competition.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a red flag of, or when something good happens to you, or when there's a success, there's a comparison. That may be a red flag in a relationship,
Yeah,
as
because it could
opposed
be like
to,
an ego thing.
yeah, for sure. And there's a difference between pushing each other and being in competition with each other.
Hmm.
Like, I don't know if it's healthy to be in competition with each other as partners. It doesn't that and again, that doesn't mean you can't be competitive with each other. You're very competitive. I'm very competitive. When we play games, when we are, doing different things in life, we want to win,
Yeah.
right? Like we do, but that's not when it comes to I need to win,
So you have to
so you have
lose.
to lose.
Uh-huh. That's
And
good.
like that is going to always have a shelf life in a relationship.
Yeah, I think that's a great distinction. Like, say for instance, when we speak together, that I want you to do well and I want to do well. So if you do well, I'm like, dang, I better up the ante and like, where can I go that I haven't gone yet? Where can I like pull back a little bit?
Yep.
The way that you're doing, like it inspires me to be more.
Absolutely.
And I think that's like a healthy competition
Mm-hmm.
and a healthy drive. One thing that came to my mind that could be a red flag is controlling, when someone's controlling you
Yep.
or being manipulative or gaslighting.
Mm-hmm.
So that to me is like similar to the defense, being defensive. They gaslight you or they like try to manipulate how you feel and you start going like, am I seeing this right?
Yeah, yeah.
Then like what would you say if someone is in a relationship right now and they're not sure if they're being manipulated, gaslit?
I mean, do you have friends in your life that you can trust and process those situations with? Hey, this came up, and can you help me? Am I being crazy?
Yeah.
And if you are talking to those people, and also, but the other key is making sure you have people that are at least somewhat mature and centered in their relationship with the both of you.
Mm-hmm.
If it's just people that are skewed towards you, that are always gonna like have your back because they're ride or die friends, then then you also got to take that in consideration, right? But if you can have like mature friends who love and respect you both, and processing it with them, and going, this is the situation, and I feel like this person's being manipulative. Can you help me out? Keep it real if there's something I don't see. Keep it real if, if I'm being prideful. And then hearing, and then if there's like a consistent theme of like, yeah, no, absolutely, I wouldn't allow that, then you can have the confidence to go back to that person, your partner, and go, hey, this is what I've experienced, and it's not okay.
Yeah.
And things got to change if this is going to work, because I'm not playing that game.
Yeah. Which I love how you were very forthcoming with me. I feel like that was super helpful for me to grow and shift, is you're saying, hey, this doesn't fly with me. I don't want to have a relationship like this. This hasn't worked for me in the past. So this is my line. And so I knew very clear, okay, this is the line and I'm not going to cross it.
Yep.
And then the other thing was, I think a red flag could be when they don't have many friends.
Okay.
And they isolate you from your friends.
Oh, it's Gabby Petito right there. You know about Gabby Petito?
Yeah. Oh, the hiker?
Yes. The van life. Yeah, Netflix just had a documentary about it. One of the more fascinating.
Have you watched the documentary?
Yeah, I just doing dishes. I put it on
was it good?
2 times speed. Yes, but they didn't really say anything new.
Because we followed the story already.
Yeah, but it was just some more. There was videos that they had from when they were camping and whatnot, and that was kind of it. You just saw more footage, but there wasn't anything like new, real revelation outside of something with the parents. That was pretty crazy. That was crazy. Spoiler, but it happened a few years ago, so that's on you if you haven't.
Well, should I? Okay.
Up to date on this, but context. So there was a murder case that happened with this woman named Gabby Petito and her boyfriend or fiance Brian Laundrie.
Early 20s or something?
Yeah, mid 20s. And they were dating and then decided to go on like a cross country trip, and they're going to like document it. She wanted to have like a YouTube channel. And yeah, so they went, bought a van together, took the van, we'll go cross country. And then all of a sudden he comes back with the van without her. And parents hadn't heard from her in a few days. And so like, what's going on? And then they found out that he had come back to Florida where they lived and she wasn't with him. And so then it starts this whole, like, where is Gabby Petito? What happened? What'd you do? Right.
Yeah. And
then you find out that he had killed her.
Yeah. How he thought he could get away with it, just come back.
Yeah, it's insane. That was something, and they document that because most of the time killers are stupid.
Yeah.
You're an idiot, and they don't get away with it. Most murderers don't get away with it because to have that act, you have to be a pretty stupid person.
Or like very messed up.
Yeah. But one of the aspects in that thing that was interesting is they were trying to figure out like he seemed like a normal guy, didn't have a criminal history.
Yeah.
And then to kill your fiance and then to try to cover it up and then to kill yourself is how the story ended. What happened? And one of the things that they said was that he manipulated her, he would gaslight her. But the huge thing was that he didn't have really many friends, was socially awkward, and he tried to isolate her time and time and time again. And that's a danger when you have somebody that is trying to isolate, that's trying to remove you from other people.
Yeah.
So if you're with somebody that only wants to spend time with the two of you, if you're with somebody that doesn't want to share you with their friends, with family, if you feel that isolation, that can be a red flag that this is an unhealthy relationship, and it might be time to pull the ripcord.
Yeah. No, it is definitely time to.
Definitely. Well, but again, it could be, because here's the thing is, because the one thing I was going to say in terms of like red flag, green flag, is a red flag is when you bring something up to somebody, you're honest with them, you reveal an issue, and then they don't change.
Yeah.
Right. A green flag, and a beautiful thing that can happen in relationships, and I've seen it in our relationship, is when something's brought to the surface, when something's, confronted, someone is confronted with something, and then you have the ability to hear, I know this is important to you, and here's how I'm going to communicate that you matter to me, is I'm actually going to shift.
Yeah.
I'm actually going to change. So you can bring a difficult thing to somebody. You use that example. Hey, I feel like you're isolating us. We only hang out with each other. I need more people involved. And if that person responds, you're right. I'm so sorry. I am just most comfortable with you.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of friends. I haven't really known how to make friends, but can you help me?
Yeah.
Or next week, let's do a group date. You pick the people and I'll show up, right? That's how you know, okay, this person is willing to change. That's a great sign of a healthy relationship. It's not that everything's always perfect, but you have a person who's committed to make the shifts necessary to communicate that what matters to you matters to me.
Yes. It was interesting because I was just telling you before we started recording that I was talking to friends, and the guy, when someone brought a situation that she was fighting with her partner, the other person said, "Oh yeah, that's just what men do. Men don't want to talk about your feelings all the time. So if you want to talk about feelings, then put it in my calendar." And
it's a great idea. Can we do that? Can we put it?
Do you see my shocked face? Can you imagine if, like, hey, on Thursday, can we talk about this like really hard thing?
Yeah. And
I get it when someone maybe is a little bit more structured, I guess. But it's just like,
the person that wants to schedule the conversation obviously is more structured. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that part that I found difficult was that he was saying hey, now you have to the wife, you have to schedule a meeting with me, is that you're dealing with this as a business transaction and you're not willing to grow. You're just saying, this is how men are. I'm sorry. This is just who we are.
Yep.
Ask any other guy. They'll say the same thing as me.
Come on.
So that means I don't have to change.
The special guest to the program, Mr. Robbie Lee. What is a, come here. You're here, yeah. We're talking about red flags.
Oh
no. In a relationship.
Oh no. Oh yes.
What would you say is a red flag in a relationship?
In a relationship.
Yeah. If somebody maybe is in a relationship and this thing is coming up, it's a pattern that they're identifying, or if a friend came to you and this was happening and you go, ooh, that's a red flag. What's like one of the first things that pops in your head? You talking Beck's mic.
Oh, wow. For me, I think the first thing I think about is the friends that they have. And if they're like, I want them to have good friends because I want them to talk to their friends about our problems so they have a safe space. But if they feel like they don't talk to anybody about things and they figure things out on their own, or there's nowhere to get good advice, that's like the biggest red flag for me.
There's nowhere to get good advice. That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. Like, even though like I try to think of me and Courtney early on, like when we were talking and there'll be disagreements, I wouldn't mind that she's like, yeah, I'm gonna talk to my mom. I was like, yeah. Yeah, like we shouldn't have anything to hide. And like, yeah, I don't mind being wrong. But
that's good.
That's the biggest thing, and it was for them to see like, hey, I want people in this because I don't trust myself, and I have other people that are like my filter to know if we're making good choices or not. Because when I did it by myself, it ended really bad. So there you go. Yeah, they gotta have a good trust, like a trust space, safe space.
Yeah, that's
good.
Really good.
Yes,
it's very good.
That's the only thing I can think of.
You have a beautiful marriage.
Yes, yes. I couldn't even. The first time Courtney, we were trying to hang out. I told one of my good friends, Mariah, it's like, should I even do this? And she was like, yes, just go have fun and stop thinking about it too much. And I would have never really give it a chance if it was for my friends.
Wow.
But I knew like, I'm never gonna hurt again. So I'll make sure I have the right people around me so that they'll be the ones, because I can't see when I'm like crazy about somebody. I can't see. I'm just seeing like butterflies and hearts and stuff. So yeah, I tried to trust my friends so I wouldn't get hurt again. Yeah, and it worked, but I don't know if it guarantees that you won't get hurt again. I just
Sure,
know
sure.
that it's the smartest thing I could have done is invite my friends into relationships.
That's good.
It's very good.
Thank you, Rob.
Thanks
I
for
love
putting me on the spot,
Thank
man.
you.
Just
100%.
appreciate you.
Thanks for being ready. Hey, you got to
Always.
always be unguarded. So,
You got to be ready.
but no, that's great perspective.
Sorry for interrupting.
I love that.
No, I love it. Thank you, Robbie.
Yeah, and the cool part about that too is I forgot about that aspect of Rob and Courtney's story, is that he was, Rob is a part of our music expression at Mosaic, MSC, and they'll go and they write songs and travel the world, and it was actually on a tour. Remember, it was a tour
Yes,
that we
yeah,
were
yeah.
on that we came. We were groupies
was
for
so
like a few
fun.
days and
Got on
just
the tour
came to
bus.
help, with the team and just serve and be there with them. And yeah, we all of a sudden hear about this girl that is like driving like 12 hours to come to a show. And we're like, who is this? Who is this girl? And they kept saying, oh, this friend of mine. And so we always thought, oh, just a friend. And but then we kept hearing about this friend. And then later on the tour, it shifted from before she was driving to a show, and then he drove from a show to go and see her. And it was because of being in community. It was because of having good friends that could push him and challenge him and go, because he was more hesitant because he, kind of alluded to a little bit, but he had been engaged before, and then his fiance ended it in a really, really tragic way and a really destructive way, and he was heartbroken forever.
Yeah.
And so then he was very guarded. And so now, what do you mean I should just go and drive hours to go visit this girl that there might not be something and I might be overthinking it? And we're like, go.
Yes.
And then lo and behold, the love story is birthed where,
Yes.
And
she's just the absolute best.
100%.
They're best friends.
Yep.
They have a great relationship.
But
I
one
think what
thing
he could have missed, right?
Yeah. And in a previous relationship, not having good friends that you could be honest with.
Or they could be honest with them.
Yeah. Or they can just talk through, hey, this is what I'm thinking. Or even just having great friendships, and night and day between that previous relationship and then the relationship that he has now, the marriage he has now. Very open and always pulling people in, and that's a beautiful thing. It also shows that you can bounce back from a really hard, heartbreak.
So I've been watching a lot of the press tour with Benny Blanco and Selena Gomez.
Me too.
Yeah.
Loving it. It's been incredible.
They've been doing so many interviews.
Haven't seen one second of it.
Okay,
so,
well,
tell me.
They've been doing so many. And there was a couple of, one was a clip of one interview, but then I was listening to the Jay Shetty one. It was super interesting. And one thing that I liked that he said was, when I met her, I thought she was super cool. And I just had this thought, I want her to be part of our friend group. And you just know that Benny has probably the coolest group of friends, that they hang out, they're all friends, they all support each other, they encourage each other probably. They just, because obviously he seems just such a cool, kind guy. Like, he wouldn't choose someone that, this is from the outside, that you could tell that he would have good friends. And so it was just cool that that's the first thought that he had, was not, I want to date her, but, oh, I really want her to be part of our friend group. That would be really cool. No, he was like,
he didn't want to date her.
I mean, maybe he obviously was attracted to her.
Of course he was.
But he's like, I didn't think she would be into me like that. I just felt like, I think she would have fun.
Yep.
That she would vibe with the friends. And they did do a friend hangout, and she was like, that was the most fun I've had in years. Like, that was so much fun. Thank you so much. And then he realized, like, oh my gosh, she's my best friend. And I can't wait. If I get to marry her, that is the coolest thing, that I get to marry my best friend.
Yep.
That he had so much fun with her. And then the other thing that I really loved was he mentioned how he's like, I always want Selena, I want her to succeed in life. And the way that I help her succeed in life is by keeping our communication open. So I do simple things like, if I'm going to a party dinner party and then I'm going to drinks afterwards, and then I'm going maybe to a show later, and she's off doing something else, then I just text her like, hey, just finished the dinner. It was really great. Now we're going off to this show. We're going to these drinks.
Mm.
And it's like, it's a couple of seconds, but it reminds her, A, I'm thinking of her, that I love her, and that she's got nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
And I just thought, how cool is that? That's someone to me that's very progressive. Unlike the other person I was talking about who said, that's just how men are. Don't expect me to change. If you ask any guy, they'll be the same thing. Rather than saying, hey, that's not like what I normally prefer to do, like having in-depth emotional conversations at a date night. But hey, if you need to talk about something, yeah, I'm open because I care about you and I care that you want to talk about this.
Yeah.
So I just love his posture that he's like, I want her to succeed in life. So this is going to help her succeed. Like such a cool, like it doesn't cost me much to do, but it's a huge win for her. And I love that.
Yep.
They
It's great.
seem like
Kind
they
of
have a
full circle
great-
to back what we were talking about before of,
Yeah.
you know, wanting the other person to win. Like that's a huge aspect of a healthy relationship and a green flag that you can not just celebrate when the other person wins, but you can do everything you can to ensure that they get a win. That's the magic in a really beautiful relationship.
And maybe that's like back to that, you know, where we had to figure out, okay, what's the best way we communicate with each other long distance, is how you could have stepped in to be like, hey, how do I make you feel safe and comfortable that just because I'm having fun doesn't mean I don't miss you. Right?
Yeah,
and that's why a simple text like, hey, out with friends, but miss you. Hope you're having a good night too.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, then we're both winning.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
And it doesn't diminish the things that we're doing. It doesn't say we're not having fun. Obviously, Benny has great friends. So he's having the best time. But it's also like, hey, life is more fun with you. So even if I'm having a great time, it's always better if you're here too. Right?
Yeah. One last red flag.
Okay.
You know, maybe the biggest of red flags.
Okay.
Because it's a conversation we were having, thinking through what we want to talk about today. The red flag of cheating.
Okay. Wow.
Right. And right. There's the saying, you know, once a cheater, always a cheater. A lot of people believe that.
Yeah.
But there's also other people that we know of, you know, very closely, who've been open about the fact that they've cheated on their spouses, but then have done the hard work to build trust and you know, we have friends that were in a marriage that's had infidelity and they've built a beautiful marriage on the other side of it, you know? So it's one of those things of like, it doesn't guarantee that the relationship is over, that you can build on it, but it can obviously be very difficult and can be a red flag that somebody's a cheater. So what is the dance in that? Like, when is it like, oh, absolutely red flag, get out? And when is it, oh, that's a terrible decision you made. We may not make it, but I'm willing to work it out. Like what's the dance that you see in that?
I think the biggest thing is how they respond to it.
Respond to what part of it?
The person who's done the cheating. How do they own up to it?
Yep.
And how do they take steps to repair it? Because I think sometimes they cheat because they want out and they don't know how else to get out.
True. Yep.
So they make those decisions because they've already lost respect for you and they're already being detached. And so then it's on you to say, well, do I respect myself enough to let them go? Because if that's the life they want to live and that's how little they think of me, well, then what am I still doing here?
Yeah, sure.
And knowing that just because you're ending something doesn't mean you're less and doesn't mean, you know, you didn't fight the fight or you didn't give it your all. But to call it when it is done, like you said, when you close a chapter and you say, okay, I'm going to call this. And then know that God can redeem anything.
Yep.
And doesn't have to be in the same relationship. He can bring redemption in a new relationship
Yeah, sure.
and
Yep.
new marriages. And we've had friends that have had divorce, and we weren't friends with them maybe when they had the divorce, but we've been friends with them, and we're constantly like, hey, that doesn't have to define you, and we don't remember it when we see you, so you don't have to think about it.
Yeah.
And then so how the person, the cheater, responds, and if they're truly repentful, is that what? Repenting.
Well, that's a biblical word. Yeah. Repentant. But
I think that's a good one. It's like, hey, I messed up and I want to make this right.
Yeah. For sure.
If they come to you with that, like you said, we had friends that had infidelity, and he was like, he found it so hard to come clean. And a pastor in his life that said, hey, you have to go tell her. Otherwise, I'm going to have to tell her, and I need you to tell her. And eventually it came, he said it, felt like their lives were imploding, which they were. But one cool thing is when they went to the therapist, and the therapist, I think it was their pastor actually, that said, hey, do you both want this? Do you want to work on this? And are you both willing to do the hard work to get back to where or even to get better to what you were? And they both said yes. And the husband, he was like, I'm ashamed of who I was, and I'm ashamed of who I am for doing that.
Yeah, sure.
If you can come to that and you have that sense of humility of like, if you take me back, I will do everything it takes to show you that I'm going to change.
Yep.
Then that's something you can work with.
Yep.
But if they if they make light of what they did, I think that's the key thing. If they make light of what they did and like it's not a big deal, or hey, maybe you would have done the same. No, if you don't own it for what it is and how destructive it is, then you will truly, I don't think you will truly grow and change your ways.
Yep.
Because you never really saw it as a bad thing in the first place. You can say, oh, I'm going to grow, I'm going to change, like I'm going to be better for you. But I think first you have to claim and say, what I did was wrong.
Yep. Yeah, you got to take full ownership.
Ownership of it, yeah.
1,000,000%. Like that's step one, and you have to be willing to, and I've counseled, guys in this space before where they've messed up and blown it, and could be as drastic and destructive as infidelity, but also could be, it could be lying. It could be other, we do a lot with stuff with porn with guys, and because it's such a huge issue with so many guys that they're fighting. And where I always counsel and coach on is 100% ownership. You just have to own it. You do not rationalize, do not justify,
yeah,
do
that's
not,
good. Defend it.
try to put them down, or hey, you had a part. Nope. You take complete ownership of your choices, your dysfunction, because once you take complete ownership, then you take your power back.
Yeah, that's
And
good.
you get to be the one that goes, okay, I blew this up, and so I'm the one that gets to also build it. And you have to do it if you're in a relationship with the person, of course. But just you have to say, even if they never take me back.
Yeah,
I
that's
think
good.
that's key. Like this is actually something I heard on a podcast that Carl Lentz did, where he was talking about some of the things that he was struggling with and some of his issues and how he was able to bounce back from it. And one of the things I really loved that he said is, and I think it was a therapist that told him this, they said, you need to change, not to save your marriage. You need to change so you can actually save your life.
Wow.
And I was like, that's really profound. And I've used that with so many friends dealing with real significant life issues and struggles, because if it's just for the other person, if it's just to save the marriage, it can be, even though it seems deep, it can be shallow. I just need the love back from this person. I just need the consistency back. I need something's been broken, or I can't imagine my life separate from this person. So it can be a masking of a really deeper issue. But when you can go, oh, that's not even on the table right now in terms of repairing our relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I need to repair my relationship with myself.
Yeah, that's good.
I need to build back in. I need to be proud of the man that I either used to be, or I need to be proud of the man that I absolutely must become.
Mm-hmm.
And then you fight for your life. And that's the beautiful thing. If you can fight for your life, your best self, if you can fight for just the most beautiful expression of who you are, then maybe that'll be the gift that you give your spouse, your partner, and going, this is what I want to do for us. And that knowing that if I slay these dragons and do it finally and wholly, then we can begin to have a conversation how we can repair what I broke.
Yeah, that's good.
You know, and
That's good.
And yeah, so for me, it doesn't mean that it's irreparable. It doesn't mean that you've gone too far. It could mean that, but there's a lot of other factors. But the number one key to determine whether or not you're able to build from that and bounce back from it has to be complete 100% ownership.
That's good. It's good.
Yeah.
I think we did it good.
We did it good?
We did it good. I feel like there's a lot of things. Obviously, you could just keep going and going, but
Sure.
hopefully that helps you if you're in a relationship and you heard one of these things. And then maybe you can message us if there's something that came up and you're like, oh, that resonated with me. We'd love to hear. And maybe there's more questions.
Yeah, or more red flags. Let us know.
More red flags, then we can talk about it.
Yeah, what red flags you see. You know, like put it in the comments, you know, in the captions, like let us know what are other potential red flags you see. And then also some beautiful stories of redemption of, you know, I love hearing moments where people grow and change and become more, because that's the beauty of a relationship, that you can actually make each other better.
Yeah, it's so good.
You know, you've made me so much better in a million different ways. And I'm grateful that you didn't see me simply for my mistakes and see me for my shortcomings, but you were committed to also helping pull out the best version of who I even always wanted to be. And when you can do that together and just keep elevating on every level, right? And knowing that it can affect you as a father, and it can affect you as a wife, and it can affect you as a grandparent, all of these layers, because that's the human dynamic, is that we are always going to be crashing into each other. And how can we actually create a more beautiful world where our mistakes and our shortcomings aren't the baseline, but they can actually be things that we can build on.
It's good.
Yeah. Well, thank you for listening to this episode of Unguarded. If you appreciate it, if it brought value to you, do us a favor, like, subscribe, share, comment. Just help us get the word out to more people, and to all of the incredible people who are part of the Unguarded fam around the world. The latest, 51 plus countries.
That's crazy.
Tuning in. We thank you. We love you.
We do love you.
Let's keep building this together. And and we'll have conversations where we open up our lives and hope that you do the same with the world around you. All right. We love you, and we'll see you on the next episode.
Bye.